Hey divas. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Please let me know if you can hear me. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing? Hello and happy Tuesday. Okay, I hear myself. Hold on. I heard myself. So can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I have missed you all. Okay, sis, my ma Teresa has said that she can hear me. So welcome, 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 welcome to Pink Table Topics. I am your host and your good sis, Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, please don't forget to hit the like button for me. Make sure you drop down and leave a comment, engage in our topic, and turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. And as you know, our mission is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis, but most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing the Diva tribe. And we're not just any diva. We are divine, we are inspiring, we're valiant, and we are admirable. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the table, divas. I have missed you, ladies. Let me go ahead and get our motivational quote of the day. Our motivational quote is: when you choose yourself, you never settle for less than you deserve. When you choose yourself, you never settle for less than you deserve. Isn't that an amazing, amazing motivational quote? You know, I have to be courteous when you come to my house. Let me go around the table and do my Divas roll call. Hello, hello, hello to my sis, Angela Richardson. Angela says, how are you doing? Just to let you know, I will be in the bushes listening. Thank you for listening in, sis. I do appreciate you. My mod, my sis, my diva, Teresa Wright, my Riri. Hey, diva. Thank you so much for being here modding for me. I appreciate you. Hey, my sis, Deborah Jackson is in the house. Thanks for joining, sis. My sis and my mod, Chit Chat with QT. Hey, diva. Thank you so much for joining, sis. I know you said that you were working late tonight, so thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, 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 Lisa. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. My degree is real is in the house. Hey, Diva. Thanks for joining. Hey, Rosemary. How are you, sis? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for being here. My degree is real says today the weirdest thing happened to me. I was on the subway and a clear man was begging. And I tell you, he never begged me. Even in begging, he was being racist. Girl, what? Girl, these folks are running rampant. You hear me? What's going on? Hi, divas. I missed y'all. I feel like it has been a minute. I missed last week, Tuesday. It was the hubby's birthday, and the family took him out for dinner for his birthday. So last week, Tuesday was his actual birthday. So we took him out for his birthday to celebrate him. Um, we were here the week before that, though, weren't we? It just feels like it's been so long. You know how when you miss a week, it just seemed like it has been such a long time. I have missed you all. I really, really have. Um, Sis said, well, he know he wasn't getting any change, right, Teresa? Look, you can't be begging and racist, right? Go away from here. But I really did miss you all, and thank you again for joining me. I hope you all had a great weekend and was able to celebrate your dads and husbands on Father's Day this past weekend. And to those of you whose dad is no longer with you, prayers of comfort to you. And I know how hard these holidays can be, no matter how long it's been. So just know I love you and praying for each of you. But thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. I am not going to be before you long, but I wanted to jump in and do a topic that I've been hearing a lot of conversation about, and I had a conversation with a couple of my girlfriends regarding this, and I was like, I'm going to put this on my Pink Table Topics list so that we can talk about it. Teresa says it's been 2 weeks. Seems like a long time. That is a long time, Teresa. That's a very, very long time. And listen, I had an amazing workout. I'm back on my committed to my get active journey. So I've been back. I've been doing well thus far this week. And this morning, I ended up turning that alarm off and I did not get up for my 6 o'clock workout. And I was sitting here during my lunch break and I was just sitting here working. And I said, you know what? I said, I am not going to let the devil steal my motivation. Let me get up and go put me some gym clothes on and go get my workout in. And I did just that on my lunch break. So while sis was live, I was on the treadmill, girl. I say, I am going to go get it in. So I went and I got my workout. I came back home, girl, and took that shower and I sat back down in this seat. Let me tell you, I said I was going to take me a quick little power nap. Girl, I grabbed this pillow. I have a love seat in my office, and I grabbed this pillow off of that love seat and put it on my desk and say, you know what? I'm just going to close my eyes for a few minutes. Girl, I slept for 3 hours. Girl, slept for 3 hours. Ain't that a mess? I was so tired. It's something about a good cardio workout and a nice hot shower afterwards. Oh my goodness, girl. Lisa said it was a long time. I thought something was wrong with my notifications. I'm so sorry, sis. I am so sorry. It has been a long time. It has been a long time. Teresa says, when Pink Table Topics and Chit Chat with QT is off, I feel lost. We sorry, y'all. Y'all know life be lifing sometimes. We be trying to get in here and get it in, but life be lifing sometimes. Yes, my degree is real. I needed those 3 hours, right, Teresa? It's your body knows when it's time to shut down. You just go so much and keep going and going. And sometimes you have to make yourself get somewhere and sit down and just relax and just sit down and just be. And I know a lot of us are super busy. We have a lot going on. Some of us have children, grandchildren, businesses, work, and just a lot of extracurricular activities during our everyday lives. And husbands are work too. So houses to keep clean and maintained. So a lot of times it just feels good to just steal some time away. Of course, we talk about self-care all the time, and that's a part of self-care. So make it your business to just steal some time away and just be able to get some time to just sit down and just be and not do anything. So, the weather is nice. Go sit outside on your patio and read a book or listen to a podcast or whatever your muse is, some nice jazz music. I love jazz music. And just sit and be and just rest. Oh my gosh, because we hardly ever get a chance to do it. So always make it your business to find time to do just that. Teresa says, we understand you all have a life too. It just feels weird. I'm in the ATL looking for them ghetto wives. Girl, you ain't gonna find them. Girl, Teresa says she over there looking for them Atlanta housewives, child. Well, let us know if you run into them, sis. Let us know. But we're going to move forward. Let's talk about, so we are going to talk about, and we're going to deep dive into something, of course, many of us have faced, are facing, or may face at some point. How long should you wait before moving into a new relationship? How long should you wait before moving on to a new relationship? And now, this isn't about judgment or timelines. It's about our truth, our healing, and our real experiences. There's no one size fits all answer. And that's the beauty of this space. This is a no judgment zone over here. We can share our experiences. We listen and we don't judge. So whether you are healing, whether your healing was quick, or whether you're still in the process of, we're here to share, reflect, and to support each other. And, as we know, breakups, be it's from a long-term relationship, a situationship, or even marriages, can leave emotional footprints that take time for us to heal. But my question is, how much time is enough? Is there a standard timeline for moving on? And I'm asking these questions because I had this conversation with a guy um, regarding a person he was dating and how fast she moved on. And I've heard some interesting feedback from different individuals, both men and women, and their stance on how long a person should actually wait. And I'll also be sharing my own personal journey and my thoughts, but I'm definitely interested in hearing from you all. We all know, again, like I say, this is a safe space, so feel free to join in on the topic and share your thoughts and provide feedback on your own personal journeys because um, we all are different individuals and we all see things different. So I love seeing um, just different points of view from everybody. I was having this conversation with um, this guy. I was having a conversation. He had come out of I think he and the young lady were in a relationship, a long term relationship between maybe 10 and 12 years, I would want to say. And we were having a conversation because she finally gathered the strength to move and remove herself from the relationship. I just can't see myself being a long term girlfriend without, the ring for that amount of time. But regardless of the case, it was he cheated. He was an habitual cheater. So she finally left. But of course, like most men, they feel a way when you decide to choose yourself and walk away from a relationship that no longer serves you. So I just had a question and I was asking him, and I was like, it seems like you have a lot of venom for someone who chose herself. At what point did you think she was going to finally decide, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore and I'm leaving? And I say, you cheated, for many years in the relationship. So why is it? Because he was making a big deal because he heard that she was seeing someone else. And I said, well, what would be the problem of her seeing someone else? Hey, CDW. Hey, April. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you all for being here. So I was like, well, why is it an issue? Who put this whole where did this whole stigma and timeline come from that a woman has to wait a certain amount of time, or a man, because I've heard it from women as well. What Who put this timeline saying that you had to wait a certain amount of time before you could move forward to another relationship, friendship, or what have you? Because it could not be a romantic relationship. It could just be you having a friendship with, or like sis would say, a boyfriend experience with another guy, but you haven't really taken it to the next level. And this could just be someone to fill a void, and you haven't necessarily taken it to solidify and say that we're in a relationship. But who said that there was an actual timeline as to how soon a person can move on? And when I'm talking to this guy, he was literally sitting there saying, he was like, well, he's like, no, he was like, how dare you walk away from a relationship, and we had 10, 11 years together, and you just walk away and you go right into another relationship. He was like, you're supposed to allow time for us to have a little time separate from each other, and then be able to decide if we want to come back together, or if it was me that violated the relationship. You're supposed to allow me that space to either get my mind right and say, hey, I'm gonna come back and work this out, or vice versa. And I was like, BS. Like, who in the world, where did that analogy come from? Because you don't get to tell me how soon I can move on if we have severed ties with our relationship. I just feel like there is no limit, there is no time frame. And to me, I feel like it depends on, as far as how fast you go into another relationship. I personally feel like it all depends on what transpired to cause you to sever ties with that past relationship. And a lot of times, and as women, a lot of times we have already mentally left the relationship before we physically leave the relationship. So what on the outside may look as if we're moving so fast, could be that, people don't understand that, like, I left a long time ago mentally, but physically you may just see me moving and moving forward, but mentally I've always been gone. And a lot of men actually feel like, I don't know why the first thing they always say is, it must be another Negro the reason why you want to leave. I never understood that mindset or that concept. I just never really understood that. My degree is real said, I'm still single and loving it and waiting on God's timing. Yes, I would tell anybody there is absolutely nothing wrong with being single and just loving on yourself and taking the time that you need to before you decide to move into another relationship, because a lot of us, especially women, we love hard anyway. When we're in it, our mindset is we're in it for the long haul. We're not in it looking to get out of it and go into another relationship with another person. But unfortunately, our circumstances and situations causes the demise of the relationship, and we move forward. But again, like, depending on what we went through in that relationship, I can sign my name on those divorce papers today and be ready to move forward tomorrow, just depending on, what you took me through, and again, my healing process. But like I say, go back to what I just said, a lot of times we've already mentally left. Lisa says, I think it depends on the length of the relationship you left. However, only you can determine your healing journey. Absolutely. It's up to you. And that's a key point as well, Lisa. And I'm glad you said that in regards to your healing journey. I really, really feel like we should make sure we are spending the necessary time needed to make sure we are healed before taking baggage from one relationship to a next and to the next. And I know a lot of I've witnessed a lot of men do this. They just don't give themselves time to heal from the emotional baggage or trauma from one relationship to the next. They just keep taking that baggage from one person to the next, and they never realize why relationships don't work or don't last. Is because they aren't healed from past relationships. And I can't just say this is just men, because I've also witnessed women move really quickly as well. I've seen a lot of women who just can't be alone, and they just go from one bad relationship to the next because they don't allow themselves the time they need to actually heal. So great point. Teresa says, if he is a cheater or a beater, I'm gone. And it would take time for me to trust the next man. I totally agree. And a lot of times what men fail to understand is that relationships are experiences. Most women, we look at the things that we experienced in that relationship, and we either say, this is what I'm looking for in my next relationship, or this is something that I am 100% not going for in my next relationship. So it just all depends on what that experience is. um my degree is real said, ain't he full of it? Yes. The audacity of them. And that's really like their mindset. They really, really want you to sit back and just wait on them. Like, how dare you sit and think, don't you move forward to the next relationship because, once I get my ish together, I may decide that I want to come back. No, absolutely not. Because the time that you did have me was your opportunity to have your ish together, to make sure you were doing right by me, and then making sure that we did have a longer lasting relationship. But you don't, like my grandmother used to say, they don't miss the water until the well runs dry. When you see me over here on somebody else's arm, and now all of a sudden you want to do right by me, but it's too late. It's too late. Teresa says, Chit Chat sends her hello, everyone. She is in the bushes, but stuck working late. Yes, she's working late. Lisa says, there you go. He's thinking about getting back together. Absolutely. And we're supposed to wait. Absolutely not. Hey, Sharon. Thanks for joining, sis. Hey, Keisha. I appreciate you for being here. My sis, I am blessed because Pam is in the house. Hey, sis. Thanks for joining. April says, when my ex-husband and I got divorced, I had been checked out for a long time before we went through the divorce. before he threw the divorce in my face. I was happy when he said it, and I filed for divorce the very next day. See? See, that's what I'm saying. There is no timeline. I don't understand where these timelines came from. April says, yes, I agree with Teresa. After going through a traumatic experience, you definitely need time to reset and heal. Absolutely. You definitely need time to reset and heal. And I wish a lot of us would take the time necessary to make sure that, we're healed. And most women, I will say most women, myself included, when I went through my divorce, I did not date again for 2 years. It was 2 years before I started dating again after I got a divorce. And it really takes time, because when you think about, especially if you're coming out of a marriage with children, when children are involved, there's a lot of rebuilding that you have to do. You have to, not only try in finding a new place, a new home, so that the kids don't feel displaced from, one home environment to now this new journey that you're going on. So now you have to, and then of course, there's no longer a male figure in the picture. You don't have that the male in the house anymore. So now you are the sole provider for, you are the head of the household for you and the kids. So you have to make sure the space is safe. You have to make sure the environment is safe. You have to get the kids, in a new community, find new schools, and it's just so much rebuilding that you have to do, especially if you're like me. I left everything. That's just how ready to go I was. I wasn't fighting for anything. I'm like, you can have all this ish. I started over 100%. I was not going to allow him to hold all of that stuff over my head, going through this long, lengthy divorce, trying to make sure I got this, that, or the third. You can have all that ish. I'll start over. That's how ready to go I was. But you have to really go through a process. It's a process that you have to go through when you come out of a relationship. And again, like Teresa was saying, depending on how much trauma you suffered in that relationship, you really, really have to take the time to mentally get yourself together. And then it's also scary. It's like a scary feeling when you're coming from there being a two-person household to now you're the sole provider. You're the head of the household, and you have these kids that you are responsible for, and they depend solely on you. You have to make sure that, you're the only one that have to make sure they get to and from school while you have to work. You all already know the story and how the whole daycare stuff goes, and getting the kids to school, all the while trying to mentally get yourself in a space to where you can do all of those things. And then if you have a Negro that's constantly causing you issues even after you've left the relationship, that's another hurdle that you have to go get through. And I know a lot of the times they do this because this is their tactic to try to scare away the new guy. If they think a new guy is in the picture, they continue to cause issues, thinking that it'll run a new guy away if he see that you have all of this constant drama going on in your life. But it took me 2 years before I got into another relationship after I divorced. Teresa said I didn't date for about 2 years, and I was in the army, and the Lord have mercy, it was raining men, but my focus was on me and my boys. I know that's right. Listen, they throw themselves at you left or right, and that has never been the issue. We've never had an issue pulling a man. That's never been the issue. But the thing is just making sure mentally we are able and capable and just ready to move. And then too, I don't know about you all, but as for me, the caliber of men that would approach me, like, I played no games. Like, save your little one-liners and your little taglines and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I really played no games. Like, you really had to bring your A game, because at this point I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I was not going to accept or you just really had to bring it, because I already knew myself and what I had and what I had to offer. I was not in the business of playing games at that time, because again, I'm looking at, I don't have time to be in and out of these broken relationships. I don't have time to be dealing with a Negro trying to put his hands on me or think he can talk to me crazy. Like, that wasn't my thing. So they really, really had to bring it. They really had to bring it. And I feel sorry for my single sisters that's out there, because the dating pool today, oh my goodness, y'all got it bad. Y'all really have it bad. You don't have a lot of options to choose from. Oh my goodness. Teresa said, even when I met a good guy who was well mannered, respectful, and just lovable, I didn't trust them. I had to learn to trust men all over again. I was pushing them away. And you know what? We'll push them away, because it takes us a minute to get out of the mindset that all men are alike. There really are some good men out there. They are very few and far between, but there really are some good men out there that will love you and treat you like the queen that you are, and good, upstanding men. There are some out there, but there seems to be more doggish ones than those kind, unfortunately. Lisa said, my ex told me that I couldn't date until the divorce paper was finalized. I just laughed at his face and went on about my business. He was on dating sites throughout our marriage. Girl, look at him trying, like, how do you get to tell me what I can and cannot do? Isn't it something how they try to pass out rules as to you can't tell you how fast you can move on? But Negro, you cheated the entire relationship. You stayed cheating. How do you have the audacity to tell me how soon I can move on? Or it's always they feel like if you're leaving them, it's because another man has been in your ear, or they feel like you're leaving. So you remember when I told you all that my ex-husband, when I left, he told me it must have been another guy, all because I said I wasn't taking any furniture. I am the one who initiated the divorce. And I told him, I said, you know what? Since I'm the one who initiated the divorce, I don't want to inconvenience you in any way. You can keep everything in the house and I'll start all over. And the thing was, I already had bought brand new furniture, just waiting on my home approval to happen so that I could move out. So I was already prepared. So when they say we plan our exit, we really do. And we have to. We have to be smart about our exit. We have to make sure things are aligned. But he told me, because I said that I didn't want any of the furniture, he told me that I must be leaving for another guy. I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Hold on one second. Let me respond to this message. It's a business message, you all. One second. So now, if I was sitting here doing anything, not doing anything, I wouldn't have even been receiving any messages. So yeah, so he thought automatically that I was going to move in with somebody else. And that's actually what he started to tell my family when I told him that, I don't want any of the furniture. I don't want to inconvenience you. I'll just start over. That is exactly what he ran with my family. He called my family, telling me that he caught me with another man and that I was moving in with another man. How in the world he got all of that from me saying he could keep the furniture? I have no idea. I have no idea. Hey, Gia, thanks for joining. Gia says she's driving home to Dallas from Houston. Be careful, Diva. Hey, Mama V. Thanks for being here. Hey, Erica. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Teresa said, I did the exact same thing. I left him with everything and started over. I was like Mel. I didn't even want child support. I didn't even ask for it either. And I think that bothers them more than I think that bothers them more than anything, especially when you don't seek anything from them. When you say that you basically throwing your hands up and just saying you're gonna walk away and you can have it all. I don't want any of that. I think that bothers them because they need us to need them. And I just thank God that I was brought up to not depend on a man. If my mom didn't teach me anything, she taught me to make sure I always had a separate account that he didn't know about. I always had money that I could get to never allow him to control my finances, and to just always stay ahead of the game. And and that really did, those teachings really did come in handy for me when I was getting ready to exit my marriage. Had I not had that mindset, or had I not been thinking, I would have stayed in that relationship longer than I should have. But because I always remember what my mom had taught me, there's no way I was going to allow a man to control my finances, to keep me stuck in a space that where a place that I knew was not healthy for neither of us. So I wanted to make sure, if the opportunity ever presented itself to where I needed to exit that marriage, I had the financial beings to do so. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us, as to why we stay in situations longer, is because we are in a financial bind, and we because we depend on the man to be to handle all of the finances in the relationship. And then when it's time for you to leave, you don't have any control of the money, so you stay stuck. Hey, Linda Gambo, thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Happy Tuesday to you. So I think that's a lot of the issue that we run into, and it's unfortunate, but that's just an issue that we always run into. But I always wanted to know, to get feedback and different perspectives from, different individuals on how long do you feel that you should stay before moving. And I do know that healing definitely is one of the key factors that we need to make sure, before we go into another relationship. But again, like I was saying earlier, mentally, I feel like a lot of us have left the relationship before it gets to the point of us physically removing ourselves. So my question is, so I want to know a question that I wanted to ask to you all. How do you know when you're truly ready to open your heart again? Like, how do you know? What point did you know that, I've done my healing process, I've done, the steps necessary to get me in a space to where I can welcome love again? Like, how did you know? How did you know that you were actually ready to open up, to be open to love? Because I know a lot of people, depending on the situation. I know some women who never remarried. They really put up a wall because the men that they were married to or dating really did some emotional damage. And a lot of them are just, and my sister is one of them. She's like, I'm happily single. She's like, I don't have to have another Negro. I am happily single. Travel when she get ready. She comes home when she get ready. She do the things that she want to do without having, to be, I wouldn't necessarily say controlled. I would say monitored by a man asking, well, how long will you be gone? Or why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? So she definitely is happily single. She's definitely happily single. So I would like to know from you all, how did you know when you were truly ready to open your heart again for love? Put it in the chat for me. One second. Let me respond to this customer again. 2 dozen chicken cookies, 2 dozen pretzels, white cake, 5 dozen white gold, and cream. One second, you all. One second. They tend to. Please feel. One second, you all. I'm sorry. Mm, let's see. Mm, okay, I'm sorry. So sorry, so sorry, so sorry. Let me go up and read our comments. April says, I was terrified to date again, but my now husband was very patient. He was very understanding and he courted me. He gave me the time I needed to transition into a new relationship. Awesome. And you know what? My husband, my current husband, he was the same way. And I think so. My husband and I were both divorcees. So we both, when we came into our relationship, we knew already what we wanted and what we were looking for in our next significant other. And we were just able, it just flowed so like we just meshed so well and it just happened so organically because neither of us were actually looking. We weren't looking. We actually worked together at the same building years ago, and we were the only two blacks in leadership in our office. He was a superintendent and I was an office manager, so we were the only two blacks, and so we just kept crossing paths. And you know, when he saw this little Mississippi girl, he just couldn't pass it up. Little Mississippi bow-legged girl, little country swag, like he couldn't pass it up. Look, dust my shoulders off. But my husband was very, like April was saying, he was very patient, but we just meshed very well. And it just happened so organically. And we just started talk. We would be talking around the office and, you know, just talking about some things that we liked and didn't like. And it just organically flowed that way. And I believe that if it's two people that know exactly what it is that they're looking for, and you already know that, you know, just the things that you're not willing to put up with and deal with. And I feel like that's something that we should automatically lead with when we're going into relationships, to just make sure, you know, be honest and lead with, you know, your thoughts, and lead with, you know, your likes and your dislikes, and ask questions, because, you know, ask questions, actually go out on dates. And like April said, he courted her, you know. What happened to me and courting us? Like back in the day, they used to would take us on several dates. Right now, they take you on a date and ready to be in bed before the night is over. Like we don't even know each other. You know, I haven't seen you when you're angry. I don't know how you deal with conflict. I don't know how, I've not seen how, you know, you manage your emotions, or you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we move so fast, we don't get the opportunity to actually get to know each other. So I think courting is definitely a great start when it comes to relationships and trying to build. Teresa says, my ex-boyfriend is one between my ex and my husband now, is the one who helped me let my guards down. He was like my therapist. We broke up because of his family. I get it. 1 second. She's responding again. This is the last one, you all. Will send. Listen, this is a customer that's trying to place an order for service, and she ready for an invoice, so I got to respond to her. So I have to respond to her. But right, Teresa, right. It's just always, I just feel like the right person will find you and you don't have to look. I believe that there actually is somebody for everybody. And I think a lot of times we get in our own way because we go looking, and I know we get lonely. It gets lonely sometimes. There are times to where we look for and long for companionship. That's natural, that's human nature. But I feel like a lot of times we get in our own way and we always end up with some of these little knuckleheads that don't mean us no good. So I feel like we need to just take our times, learn to heal, like we said, and let them court us. Show us what you're working with. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Lisa says, I just knew based on when I could trust again. But at the first sign of any type of mess or drama, I was out. I know that's right. No second chances. And that was the one thing, when I left my marriage, I vowed that I would never allow myself to go through the things that I went through with my ex-husband. There is no, and we were talking about this earlier when with sis when she had her power hour, how guys just want us to just shut up and don't talk and don't say anything. I had a mouth. I was one, like, I'm getting the last word. Who you think you talking to? Because you ain't gonna just talk to me any kind of way, because you're not my daddy. I have a daddy, and you're not gonna talk to me like you're my dad. And a lot of these men always holler this, oh, you need to be submissive. I get all of that, but you need to give me something to submit to. You can't just come telling me any old thing and you're not able to lead me and think I'm just going to follow. You can't just follow me any kind of way. So there was just things I wasn't willing to just put up with. Like, you can't just talk to me any kind of way. And I was the person that always gave what I wanted to receive. And that's the thing with a lot of these men, especially with us women. We are natural nurturers. We love hard. When we love hard. And it's easy for us to just start doing things super fast for the guy, because it's just who we are. We like to do nice things. You would be somewhere in the store like, oh, he would like that. Let me just get this for him. And then we start doing those things and they start expecting those things. And then you stop and realize, like, this Negro won't even buy me a piece of candy when he go in the store. Let me pump my brakes. And they just start wanting you to do wifely things without them going through the process of wifing you. So we had to learn, we have to learn, like, pump our brakes, allow them to court us, allow them to take us out and spend time. And that's one thing I'll say about sis. When we're over on her channel, she talk about the boyfriend experience. And he been hanging in there, y'all. He has been hanging in there. And he's one of the ones that I feel like he has great intentions for her. But that just goes to show that a man, if he really, really desires to have you and to desire to be with you, he will wait, he will date you, he will court you and go through the necessary steps to prove to you, that he is, that he's a good guy. Teresa, not bow-legged. Yes, girl, bow-legged girl. He can take these bow-legged, girl. Hey, Reen. Thanks for joining, sis. Teresa says, my husband and I talked on the phone for months before he ever came to my house, but we dated for about 4 years before we got married. My husband and I dated 5 years before we got married. And he kept telling me, he was like, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to marry you. I was actually cool just dating. I wasn't looking for marriage. I was fine. I had gotten, so accustomed to living by myself, at that time. I had gotten so accustomed to my peace. When I walked through the door, like my space was my space. Like, and I was sitting here like, okay, so if we get married, like, where we staying at, because I was selfish with like my closet space, and I'm like, will I have to share my closet space and all of this kind of stuff? But he was very patient. He didn't rush anything. One thing I can say, and I tell people this all the time, my husband was 100% consistent, and he has still been consistently him since day one. The things that he started doing, he still does to this day. He has not missed a beat. So he proved himself to be who he said he was. And I think, a lot of times we kind of, we overlook those red flags a lot of times in the beginning, because a lot of times we emotionally just want to be attached to someone because we feel a certain kind of way, some of us, when we're lonely, and because a lot of us, we really wanted our marriages to work. I don't think anybody go into marriage expecting to get a divorce. We always wanted our marriage and our relationships to work, but circumstances happen that causes us to now be on the outside of those things. But there are, like I said, there are some good men out there. Lisa says another thing we learn the first time around, and even if you have a joint account, you should still have your own account where you don't commingle funds. Absolutely. Absolutely. You should definitely have. Now we can get an account, have a joint account to where we take care of the household bills and expenses out of that account. But when it comes to our personal money, I don't care that you have your own account, because I'm going to have mine, because I don't want you controlling what I can spend, when I can spend it, and what I can spend it on. Like, I don't need you to control that, because I go to work for mine, you go to work for yours. And so that's a great point. Teresa said these days men got more mouth. Girl, yes. They got more mouth than women. They are some of the most gossiping individuals that I have ever seen. Oh my goodness. So my next question is, how do you know the difference between you being healed or you're just distracting yourself? Okay, so let's say, you're looking to go into this next relationship or what have you. We talked about going through the healing process. Do you feel like we're actually healed, or do you feel like we're moving forward because we have actually taken the steps necessary to heal ourselves from past trauma? Or do you think that we're moving into a new relationship because we just need a distraction? And I think this goes into like what we were talking about with some women not wanting to be alone. Do you think that a lot of women move forward because they truly have done due process to heal, or are they just moving forward because they just need that distraction? Do you think they just need that distraction? And I personally think that could go both ways. I personally think that some women have healed and some do just, they need a distraction, because a lot of women cannot live alone. They can't be by themselves. They're just from one bad relationship to the next. Teresa says, my husband has always told me to keep my check. He has always paid. Hold on one second. He has always paid for everything. He always say he's responsible for the bills. This has worked for the whole 30 years. He's a good man, Savannah. You hear me? You keep that good man, Teresa. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you call a leader. That's what you call a leader. He's a good man. He's a great man. Hey sis, sis says, welcome divas. Thank you for pulling up to the table on Pink Table Topics. Please hit the like button on your way in. Click the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Yes, thank you sis. Please hit the like button for me if you're listening in, or if you came in and you didn't hit it, please hit the like button to get us in the algorithm. I would highly, highly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My next question is, do you think that society has double standards when it comes to shaming women for moving on, quote unquote, too soon? Do you feel like society has a double standard when women are being shamed for moving on too soon? April said, I had to heal before I could move on. I didn't want a distraction because I needed to be able to see any red flags if any were presented. I agree. I agree, April. Same for me as well. I wanted to make sure um, I was fully healed, but I just think, for me personally, I just think I just wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. When I came out, I was so glad to be coming out of that marriage that dating was not a top priority for me. It wasn't. The only thing on my mind at that point was trying to adjust to my new normal. And that was just taking care of myself and my children. I had no desire to even date. It wasn't. And it was, men throw themselves at us all day, on the job, at the gas station, in the grocery store, wherever we go. Men throw themselves at us. But I guess it just wasn't, they just weren't appealing to me because I wasn't looking. I wasn't disrespectful or anything, but I just wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. I wasn't even interested. And I think because I hadn't been by myself in so long. So I wanted to actually be able to enjoy just having my own space and having control over my own life, just without the headache of, the nagging man, or always having to check in, or always having to, say I'm here, I'm there, or I'm doing this or that, or you know what I'm saying? Just so it was just like it was a new, felt like a new world to me. It was like super new. So I had to get adjusted to that. And it literally did take me the full 2 years to even get to a point to where I would go on a date with anybody. And I went on a movie date, dinner and movie with my husband at the 2 year mark. And child, we've been inseparable ever since. But I literally just took 2 years and I just didn't even think about moving. Teresa says absolutely. April says I agree. Teresa says she wasn't looking either. She was young and single and free. Yes, young, single, and free. Teresa says my friend and I had a homeless man hitting on us and we were married. Girl, they don't care. You can be married. They can see the ring. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care. They do not care at all. Um, let's see. What's another question? Do you think there really is such a thing as a person moving on too fast or too soon? Do you think that's even a thing? Do you think that's a thing? Do you think it's really a thing as a person moving on too fast or too soon? Or how would you feel if the person you were breaking up with, leaving the relationship with, or what have you, would you have a problem with them moving on as soon as you signed the divorce papers, or moved out, moved on, or whatever the case may be? Would you feel a certain kind of way? Girl, I wouldn't. I was hoping somebody somewhere would come and get this Negro. I'm like, anybody that want him, if it can get his attention off and away from me, please somebody come get. I was hoping he had a side chick. I was hoping that he had something and somebody that could hold his attention long enough to keep him away from me. So I would feel no ways tied, as they say. I would feel no way about it. Go away from me. Go be great with whoever you want it to be. Go find you somebody else to ruin. Just go. Just do whatever. Go away from me. April says my ex-husband was married 2 weeks after our divorce. I was ecstatic. I know that's right, girl. Like, do you want me to sing at the wedding? Because I will. I am happy for y'all. Just make sure you keep him over there. Teresa says, especially the ones who were cheating and they move on with that person as soon as they divorce. Yes, I've seen that happen too. With the person that they were cheating with, they ended up moving on with that person as soon as they were divorced. So I've definitely seen that too. Hey, sis. Sis said it could be a thing, but most women move on mentally way before they pull the plug. So they may be ready to move on faster. I totally agree. I totally agree. Look at April talking about she sent a gift. No, you didn't send a gift, sis. April say, where's that bridal registry at, girl? I got something for you. I know that's right, April. Sis said, I think I want to be single forever. I just love my peace too much. Boyfriend experience only for me, and even that can be a bit much. I totally agree, sis. I totally agree. It to me, I don't think it's anything better than being single. And if you single happy, if you happy single, stay single and happy. Do you? Because there is no blueprint. There is no I don't know who wrote this standard that we have to have the marriage, the white picket fence, the big house on the hill, and all of that stuff. You can be happily single. You really can be happily single. So don't ever let anybody force you into feeling like you are less than because you're not married. Child, do you. Do you. Let's see. What's another question? Let's see. Do you think healing and moving on? Do you think healing and moving on happen at the same pace? Do you think that healing and moving on happen at the same pace? Do you think healing and moving on happens at the same pace? Hey, Cece. Thanks for joining, sis. We appreciate you for being here and dropping by. April says some people get conditioned to stay in bad situations. Be true to yourself and do what's best for you. I totally agree. I totally agree. A lot of us get conditioned to stay in bad situations and stay in them longer than what we should have been. So I totally agree because I know I have a couple family members and friends at some point to where I could just be on the outside looking in at their relationships and be like, you should have been gone a long time ago. And I also had one of my best friends. She and her husband are still together today, and she's the one that I was telling you about that did all the cheating, and he moved in with another lady for 30 days and came back to her house and needed an oxygen tank when he thought that she was cheating. But she literally stayed. I had a conversation with her. I was like, why did you stay in that marriage? And I don't try to force anybody out of their relationships. If you happy staying, you stay. If you happy leaving, then you leave. You do whatever makes you happy. But it was because the standard for her was set by her parents. Her parents had been married for over 30 years, and she was willing to just do and accept anything to keep her marriage together because that's all she knew was, my parents have been married, and she didn't want to feel like she was a failure at her marriage by walking away. And it wasn't like he just did one thing. He did multiple things throughout the term of the marriage. But she just kept taking it and taking it. And but because she had seen her parents together, she didn't want to feel like that she was a failure. So true statement, April. You definitely get conditioned to stay in bad situations. Sis said, April, the gift was the no good Negro. The gift was the no good Negro. Right. That's the gift right there. You can have him and everything that comes along with him. Teresa says, yes, it can be a bit much. You want to stay home and watch movies, and he want to go out and be touchy feely. Yes, absolutely. And sometimes you just be wanting your space. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm an introvert. I'm cool with and around the people that I'm cool with. Like, I am the life of the party. When we cool, we cool. I can open up and you would think that I'm like a social butterfly, but I'm really not. I'm an extrovert. I love home. I love my peace and sanity. I love being in my own space. Um, I don't have to go out and be around a whole bunch of people. I choose home and peace any day over being into all of that. Like, I don't care about going to, the little gatherings and all of that kind of stuff, and the couples outings and all of that kind of stuff. Like, my husband and I have one couple that we no, two couples that we kick it with like all the time. Those are our people. But I don't have to do the whole like going out and all of that kind of stuff. We can have just as much fun at home. Girl, we can turn this house inside out anytime. You hear me? So we don't have to do all the going out and all of this stuff. My husband and I both are homebodies. And I think that has a lot to do with, like, we did all that when we were younger. And we've done it all. And then it's so unsafe outside these days. So we would prefer to be at home any day. April says, Chit Chat, trust me, he was no gift. He was gutter trash. Not gutter, girl. He was gutter. April say he was gutter. Teresa says, no, I think some people are healing while in a new relationship. I totally agree. I think a lot of people are healing, going through their healing process while they are in new relationships. I can't say for myself. I probably was not 100% fully healed, because if not, I would have probably been a whole lot more open a whole lot sooner to moving forward in a new relationship. But it was just, some things was a no-go for me, like, period. One thing I'll tell anybody, when I walked away from that relationship, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about him, and a lot of things that I was not willing to accept going forward. I learned a lot. It was really a very, very harsh learning experience for me. It was a very harsh learning experience for me. And if I had to listen to my daddy, I wouldn't have been married to him in the first place. So I had to keep reminding myself of that, because my daddy told me not to marry that Negro. But I was hard-headed, and we want what we want, right? The heart wants what the heart wants. And sometimes the heart wanting what it wants comes along with heartbreak, and we have to deal with it. Suck it up, Buttercup. Chit Chat says, April, I know your gift to the new bride was the trash. Yes, child. Teresa says, I'm an introvert too. The only time I appear to be an extrovert is when I'm around close friends and very close associates. I totally agree. And a lot of people don't understand that you can be, because a lot of times they'll say, well, I saw you with such and such person and you were the life of the party, but then now you're here. I'm a very observant person. I may not say a lot, but I am observing. I can sit at my table and I can have my little drink or whatever, and I can sit and I can observe. I pay attention to body language. I pay attention to facial expressions. I pay attention to conversations that's going on around the room from certain people. And, I'll know you by the time we leave out of that place. I'll know if you somebody that I could rock with or not, because I'm a very observant person. I'm a person that can be by myself. I don't bother people. I don't seek out people. So a person can never say, oh, she was trying to get my man, because baby, if I know he got somebody, he cannot even look my way. Don't even look my way when I know you have somebody. I don't do the whole dating of married men. I ain't dating you when I know you in a relationship. I'm not doing any of that. So you can miss me with that. Teresa says, my daddy told me the same thing and I paid for it. Yes, girl, we don't listen. We hard-headed. We be hard-headed, be knowing we shouldn't have been with those Negroes, and we'll get with them anyway, and then we have to suffer the consequences. We be reaping what we be done sowed. That's exactly what it be. They tried to tell us. Lisa says, my friend was dating a newly divorced man who would literally cry about his ex-wife. I told her to stop wasting her time and send him to a therapist. Girl, what? You're not about to be over here crying to me about your ex-wife, because gone over there where she at. Get on over there. That sound like Martell. Talking to Coleslaw about mail every 5 minutes. Girl, not crying. Yeah, she should have sent him to a therapist. And again, that sounds like he was just looking for a distraction. He wasn't ready to move on to another relationship. He was definitely looking for a distraction, somebody who could take his mind off his ex-wife. And clearly it wasn't working, because he over there crying for her. And that's a lot to have to carry as well too, because it probably felt like she was actually his therapist, because I'm sure every time they had a conversation, he was talking about some things that happened or didn't happen in his relationship with his ex-wife. Like, who wants to, don't trauma dump on me. Who wants to hear that? Go get healed first, like we were saying. Go get healed first before jumping into another relationship. Go get healed first. So the next question is, have you ever moved on before you actually fully healed from the last relationship? Have you ever been in a situation to where you moved on into another relationship before being fully healed from the last relationship? And if so, how did it affect your current relationship? Because a lot of times, this baggage we're taking from one relationship to the next can affect the current relationship. So have you ever found yourself being um moving on before you actually healed from that last relationship that you were in? And if so, how did it affect your current relationship? Let me answer that question. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Have I moved on? I think I did. This was years ago before marriage, though. This was just in like a dating relationship. I think I did, because I probably was on some get back type stuff. I was a tit for tat type person. I was the type of person back in the day that I was going to get my lick back. You didn't get to do me. I was going to get my lick back. Erica says that she's an introvert as well. Introvert, extrovert as well. Yes, I think we can be both for sure. We can definitely be both for sure. But yeah, so I think I did, just on some get back stuff, because I knew I could do it. Um, and I knew that it would bother him and it would hurt his little ego and his little feelings. So I did. Oh my God, I played a lot of games back in the day, y'all. If we could just be honest. Girl, I played some games back in the day. Like, my get back game was on 10, as the young people would say. My get back game was on 10. You do me, I'm doing you back. I am going to get my lick back one way or the other. And I had a mouth. Oh my gosh, I had a mouth. And I'm just going to say this. It's by the grace of God that I'm sitting here talking to y'all tonight. Because if I look back over my life and some of the things that I went through, experienced, and the things I've done, girl, it had to be the prayers of the righteous. It had to be the prayers of the righteous. You hear me? Because, baby, let me tell you, I ain't always been Pink Diva. Baby, I was out there. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I learned some valuable lessons. And those lessons and those experiences are what molded me to be who I am today. So, I thank God for my journey. I'm not ashamed of anything. I just know that my parents and my grandparents was praying for me. You hear me? Some prayers went up before me. Erica says, I moved on too early to the next relationship back in my 30s. It always ends with the same sad results as the previous relationship. Yep. And I think that a lot of times that we have to take a look at ourselves, Erica, because a lot of times we will move on too fast. And again, we were young. We have to remember too, back then, the way we thought is not the way we think today. So we all have had moments that we didn't make the best of decisions, and we all did some things that we shouldn't have done, said some things that we shouldn't have said, and ended up in relationships that we shouldn't have ended up in. But when we learn better, we do better. But that's all a part of life. That's all a part of life, and we end up just repeating the cycle, one bad relationship to the next, one bad relationship to the next. But when we learn better, we do better. Lisa says, "Ooh, yes." And it was horrible. We argued about everything, and he would sneak, call my ex to see if we were still talking to each other. I learned to heal first before moving on. Girl, no, he wasn't calling the ex. Girl, he sound like my ex-husband. He was going down, had snuck in my no, he snuck in my email, and he was emailing people, or I would leave my phone out while I was in the shower. Girl, he would go through my contact list and just calling numbers. Didn't know who the numbers belonged to. Just calling people. And I had people telling me, messaging me like, "Oh, I missed your call earlier." I'm like, "Call? I didn't call you." But he was calling the number, girl, to see who was going to answer, if a man or a woman was going to answer on the other end. And even like I tried to tell him, even if a male answered the phone, what does that mean? You still didn't know who it was, and it did not mean that that person and I were in like a romantic relationship with each other just because his name is in my phone. And that's something I never did. I'm not going to touch your stuff if I don't want you to touch mine. I've just always been that person. Like, I'm never going to do to you what I don't want you to do to me. I've always been that person. And my ex-husband had a problem with that. And he told me one day, he was like, "The only reason why you don't touch my stuff is because you don't want me to see your stuff." And I was sitting there like, now what kind of sick mindset is that? Like, no, I don't touch your stuff because it's not mine. And you are a grown man. And if you are hiding something in your phone, I know that eventually it'll come to the light. I don't even have to go look for it. And that's what I tell people. Be careful what you look for, because if you're not ready to take the next step when you find it, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And he know I didn't care about leaving. He know I didn't care about leaving, because if he would have found something in the phone that would cause him to leave, he should have told me, and I would have purposely put something in there so he could be on his merry way. But yeah, I think it's just real weird. I think a lot of the mindsets of these dudes are really just built weird. They're just built different. And it's so unfortunate that a lot of them have these podcasts now that they think they can sit behind these computer screens with the microphone and think they can tell us how to be ladies and tell us how we should do what it is that we do, but they don't hone in on their traumas and the things that they can do better as men, and how they can show up the way they need to show up for their relationships and for their children. And they get to sit back and think that they can tell us basically how to just shut up and just sit here and just take it. Let us just continue to do and say the things that we want to do. You shouldn't question us. You shouldn't be combative with us. You should just sit here and just take it and just don't say anything. And we see so much of that today. We see so many of these men just basically sitting around telling us how we should be women. And this is why, we don't choose you all as Black women, because basically y'all talk too much. Well, guess what? We gonna talk. We gonna keep on talking, because who are you? Who are you? We're not checking for you, and you don't get to tell me. You can't tell me more about me than I can tell you about me. And and these are the caliber of men that we are experiencing today in today's society. That Kevin Samuels did a huge injustice to a lot of these men, because they all are stuck in that mindset. They're all stuck in that mindset, and they continue to move as if they are the be all in all, as if they're the only ones that we have available. It's unfortunate that their mindset is like that, but they don't ever take a deep dive at themselves to understand why their relationships don't work. They spend so much time trying to point the finger at the female they're in a relationship with, but they never really take an honest look at themselves and understand, well, what role did I play in the demise of the relationship? But it's always easier to blame the other person. It's always easier to blame the other person. So, but it is what it is. Erica says once you start checking phones and doing drive-bys, usually means that the relationship has been in a demise state for at least a year. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely it, or it means too, Erica, that you lack trust. You lack trust in a relationship because of your own mindset. And a lot of times, the way you think the next person is doing the same thing as well, because you know what you would do. And you just automatically have the mindset that that person is doing that too. And a lot of that has to do with control. I know with my ex-husband, it was a control thing. He wanted to be able to control like every aspect of my life. And he did drive-bys all the time. I would be at work and he would drive by. I'm never going to miss my money. If I say I'm going to work, you best believe I'm going to work. But it's like a control thing. They don't have trust. They don't trust you. And and to me, if you don't have trust in a relationship, what are we here for? We're both wasting time. Because if I don't trust you and you don't trust me, we wasting time. We're going to spend more time, like you're saying, checking phones, doing drive-bys and all of that kind of stuff when we're not really enjoying each other or the relationship because we don't trust each other. We don't trust each other. And that's a horrible way to live. I've had to live it. It's a horrible way to live. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. There's no way I today would deal with a toxic relationship. There's no way I would put up with it. I'm not doing all that back and forth. I'm not going to risk my life doing all of this arguing back and forth, fuss and fight. Like, I don't have time for that. I feel like when I come home, this is my safe haven. This is my place of peace. I shouldn't have to be doing all of that, behind my closed doors. I had to do that in my first marriage. So there's no way I would put it. That's a no-go for me. That is a complete, like, I'm out. If I can't have peace when I come home, I'm out. It's a wrap. Teresa says, they sure are. Kevin Samuels brainwashed men and passed away. His message lives with them forever. Absolutely. It seems like a lot of them are trying to adapt his ways and push that narrative on us, but I refuse. We rebuke that demon. We're not doing that one. Erica says, or lack of trust. You're absolutely right. Yes, I feel like it's just a lack of trust. For one, you're nobody's mama and he's nobody's daddy. If we can't talk to each other like we're civilized in the relationship, we shouldn't be together because you're not my dad. I'm not your mom. If we can't like really have a sit down conversation to discuss our differences, or I should be able to feel comfortable enough with, especially someone that is my husband. I'm supposed to feel comfortable enough to where if you did or said something that made me feel a certain kind of way, I should be able to feel vulnerable enough to open up and share that with you, and vice versa. We should be able to have a civilized conversation and talk out our differences, not go to bed angry, to be able to, just have adult conversations. And I think that will show you a lot about if you're actually with the right person or not. Because if we can't have an adult conversation, what are we doing? Why does everything have to be an argument? Why I should be able to hold you accountable for the things that you're not doing. You should be able to hold me accountable for the things that I'm not doing without getting upset about it. That's just called grown folks. That's called grown folks. Let's see. Let's move to another question. What is one thing that you have learned about yourself through your process of letting go and moving forward? What is one thing you have learned about yourself through the process of having to let go and move forward? That's a good question. Great. Let me see. So let me answer. What is one thing that I learned about myself through my process of letting go and moving? I'm going to say for me, um, basically what I said earlier, um, I learned to not stay anywhere longer than I should. Um, because I feel like I stayed a little longer than what I should have. But I did learn, for one, that I was stronger than I thought I was, because those of you who know my story, when I shared my story, when I was going through my divorce, I had no family in the city. I had moved away from Mississippi. I had no family in the city that I was in. I was surrounded by, his family and friends and just coworkers that I had made through work or what have you, but I didn't have family. So it was scary for me. I was in a new city. I was a country girl. I wasn't a city girl. So I was in a new city, and I just learned that, or realized that I was stronger than what I thought, because it was scary for me having to go through a divorce. I didn't even know um, any divorce attorneys. Like, I had no idea, no knowledge of how to even go about filing for a divorce. I had no steps. I had nothing. I literally had to do all of this from ground zero. But God is just so amazing at how he will put people in your life at the time that you need them, without even knowing you need them. And it was just like he was just placing people in my life that was able to, share things with me. And I was, one of my coworkers gave me a divorce attorney and told me how to, start the process and all of that kind of stuff. Another coworker which was an older Black lady that worked at my job. She helped me find my house. When I told her, I said, you know what, I'm in the process of going through a divorce and trying to find a place to stay. She happened to be a realtor, and she was able to help me find a house. I told her, I have two girls. I'm trying to get out of this relationship. And when I say, it just blew my mind at how God just constantly put people in my space and in my path to help me get out of that relationship. That's how I know that, it was God, because I had prayed about it. And I said, Lord, if you ever allow me to get out of this relationship, I promise you I won't look back. And I meant that thing. I meant that thing. And it was almost like he just placed everybody that I needed in my path to help me get out of that marriage and find me a place to stay without him knowing where I was staying. And it was just amazing to be right in the same city and never run into him. That's just how ducked off I was. And it was just amazing how God put people in my path. And I was just surprised at my own strength, because it was days. I was at a breaking point, and I know a lot of you have watched the movie Straw. We're going to talk about that. I think I'm going to put that one on our topic for next week. We're going to talk about that. When it comes to talking about the last straw, baby, I felt like I was broken. Coming out of that relationship, being in a new city, like, I just felt like all eyes were against me. And when I was finally able to get out of that relationship and can actually breathe and be free, like, oh my goodness, when it just feel like everything is coming against you, everything is just caving in on you. Listen, that's a real thing. I have been at a point of breaking. So I understood what she felt like in that movie, but it's just amazing how much strength that we'll find deep down in ourselves when we're trying to remove ourselves from certain situations. And I just really didn't know my own strength, as Whitney Houston would say. I did not know my own strength until I had to walk away from that relationship. So it was deep. Teresa says she learned that she can take care of herself. Great, great. Absolutely. April says she learned that I am stronger and more resilient. Absolutely. And a lot of times we be so scared to step out on faith. We be so fearful. We be thinking that, I'm not going to make it, or, what if this happened? And it is natural. We automatically think about the what ifs. What if it doesn't get right? What if it doesn't happen the way I think it's going to happen? But just pulling your from your own strength. We are some I think Black women are some of the most resilient women that I've ever seen, because we have been through so much. We have experienced so much, and we've overcome so much. And it's like a daily fight for some of us. Like, it's always something, and it's always somebody coming against us, like every which way. And it just seems like we're constantly having to try to pull ourselves up out of things to try to prove our worth, to other people. I just feel like we're some very resilient creatures. And I'm a girl's girl, so shout out to us as Black women, and being able to overcome some of the things that we've overcome and go through, come out of, alive, right? Some of the situations that we've been in, because I know a lot of people who's been in my past situation that can't sit here today and talk about that experience. And when I say it's by the grace of God that we came through a lot of this stuff, it really is by the grace of God that, we're able to sit and share and, tell our stories. That's why I'm so glad that we have platforms like this. We have platforms like Sis have on her channel, to where we really can just, open up and share our experiences and just talk about these things, because these are conversations that we need to have, because we never know who's listening. It could be somebody that's going through, this very situation, and just being able to hear us talk about how we overcame and how we came out of some of this stuff is, they're able to pull strength from, us saying that, yeah, I made it out. You can do it too. You don't have to stay. You don't have to settle. So that's why I'm just so appreciative, of this platform, and Sis's platform and other platforms, to where we really can have real life conversations that we as women deal with on a daily basis, because it's a constant battle. Like, we're always trying to pull ourselves up out of something. So I really appreciate, you all, when you come over and we talk about these things and we share these things, because, the comments that you all leave and your feedback helps me. It helps everybody else that's, in the chat, and those that catch the videos later. Like, we really be having some valuable life lessons that we all can learn from and pull from each other. So conversations like this matter. And that's why it's so important for us to make sure we are connecting with and staying connected to, women who really can pour into us. You can feel when you're in an environment that you just don't fit and you just don't belong, and sometimes you just find yourself separating from those spaces. But when you find a place that feels safe, a place that's like no judgment, and we all have our faults and we all have been through things, because we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And that's what I love too about our platforms, is that, we share some stuff. We talk about some raw stuff. We talk about like some deep things that we've experienced in our lives. But when we look back on those things and see how far, we've come, it's just amazing to be able to share it and to be able to, hear and pull from each other and hold each other up. That's what it's all about, us being able to just hold each other up. So I appreciate you all for always being here and for rocking with Pink Table Topics. I love y'all like real big. So I really, really do enjoy having you ladies join me. Erica says, also, once partners learn within the relationship that we are not each other's chattels, then the respect is automatic. There is no ownership in relationships. Absolutely. There is no ownership in relationships. We are all individuals. You are absolutely right. Lisa says, I had to leave my last marriage with pretty much my clothing and left everything else behind at church before ties. The lady says, as long as I have Jesus, I have just enough to start over. I know that's right. I know that's right. That's all you need. All you need for real. April says, that's right. Reach one, teach one. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Did y'all enjoy this topic? Did y'all enjoy the topic? I have some more questions, but I'm going to stop right there. We are 1 hour and 30 minutes in. I have really, really enjoyed this topic. I really appreciate you all for stopping by Pink Table Topics and enjoying and engaging in the topic and engaging in the conversation. Um, Thank you all for sharing your experiences and the things that you went through. It's not always easy to share. A lot of us are reserved, and a lot of times we don't like to share things. But again, like I say, I promise you, this is a safe space. We are sisters. We are sisters. We have never laid eyes on each other. But we can feel the vibe. We can feel when there is peace in the place, and where there is love, and love resides here. And I appreciate each and every one of you, seeing your faces week after week when we are live. And it's just always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to just be able to engage with you all and to just commune and create community. That's what it's all about. It's so much going on. Like in my city, just it's not even summer yet. It has been so many shootings in the neighborhood, like in our community, just over the past couple. I'm talking young kids, 16, and catching stray bullets. They in their homes sleep, catching stray bullets because people just randomly, these little bad teenage boys and girls are just out in the community raising havoc, and all of these unalivings. And it's not even summer yet. Like, it's so much going on. So it's good to have a space to where we can come together and not have to deal with the stuff that's going on the outside, because a lot of times we deal with a lot of stuff and we just need our sisters to be able to take our mind off of a lot of the things that we're going through. Some may still be in relationships that they're trying to get out of or trying to heal from, whatever the case may be. So we just keep each other lifted, keep each other in prayer, continue to pray for each other, love on each other, and just continue just being sisters and being, that community for each other. Teresa says, I saw today R. Kelly was rushed to the hospital for an attempted assassination by a drug. Oh my goodness. Girl, there's so much going on. Like, it's so much going on, like, in this world. It's so much going on in this world. So we need safe spaces like this to help keep us sane, because there's so much going on. Well, prayers going up to R. Kelly. That's horrible. Nobody deserves that, regardless of what crimes he's committed, but nobody deserves that. So we'll definitely be keeping him in our prayers. We pray for everybody. Nobody is exempt from prayer. We pray for everybody, as we wish people would pray for us. It's especially if you can get a prayer through now, and pray the right prayer, not PREY, but PRAY. There's a difference. Lisa says, exactly. So much craziness going on in the world. It is. We just got to stay prayed up. Pray that the Lord just keeps us covered, keep us and our family covered, to make sure that we can make it from point A and B to get back home. It's a daily prayer, a daily prayer. I tell my husband all that. I say, I pray for you every time you walk out of this door, because we just never know the day nor the hour. We never know, one day from the next. Anything can happen at any time. So we definitely have to stay prayed up, for everybody. But thank you, ladies, again for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for gathering and just engaging in the topic for me. I enjoyed the topic. To those of you that'll be pulling up to catch the replay, I appreciate you for checking in. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way in. Feel free to share the video. Share the video with one of your sisters that you feel may need this message. We just never know. That's what it's all about. So share it. Feel free to share it. Invite your girlfriends over next time. My degree is real said, why is USA looking to war with Iran? Wrong road, wrong. Really, I haven't even. I try my best. My degree is to not watch so much TV and so much news. It's just so heartbreaking every time you turn it on. And I just hate turning it on sometimes, but I didn't even know that. I had no idea. But with the person that we have in office, we just never know from one day to the next what he's going to do or what he's going to say. It's a complete, it's just a complete joke if you ask me. But this is who they voted in office, so we don't know from one day to the next what decision he's going to make when he decides to wake up. It's just always something. It's always something. Right, Teresa, the orange man's foolishness. Teresa said that's a road they don't want to travel. I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. And I hope he's being advised against that. But hey, we know him. He tends to override advice that he's given all the time. So I'm quite sure they've advised him of that. But we just have to stay prayed up. We just really do have to stay prayed up, stay prayed up. So again, so thank you all for joining me. We're going to end our live for the night. Like I say, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back here next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you turn your notifications on. We'll be right here. Teresa says he said he's the one who makes decisions. Another narcissistic fool. Listen, we could call him a lot of things. We could call him a lot of things. And we wouldn't be lying. He is a lot of things. It's actually pathetic, but that's who they wanted to have in the office. It's quite unfortunate. Good night, Erica. Erica says, good night, everyone. Stay safe. Yes, you stay safe too, sis. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. But again, ladies, thank you so much for joining Pink Table Topics. I am your good sis, Pink Diva. I really enjoyed you. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, please make sure you do it on your way out. And again, to the replay gang that'll be pulling up later, please make sure you hit the like button. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment and answer some of the questions that we were talking about during the live. I appreciate you. And have a good night, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks to everybody that stopped by and joined me. I really, really do appreciate you all. I love you and have a good night. Good night.